It said my name and then it asked me a question, and the question has not let go of me since. It asked me why I had come back. Back, it said, not here. Back, as if I had stood in that forest before, which I had not, which I could not have. I have a year to live and most of a life I do not fully remember, and I have never in any of it set foot on that quiet, terrible world. Reyes had her weapon up. Rook had gone the color of the trees, and I, God help me, I did the thing I have always done. I answered the dead language back. I said, I do not understand. Tell me again. Reyes told me, low and fast, not to answer it. 40 years of doing this, and her one rule is that you do not talk to the things on the far side. You do not give them your voice because your voice is the one thing they cannot take unless you hand it over. And here I was handing mine to a stranger on a dead world, in a language nobody living should know because I have never been able to leave a sentence unread or a question unanswered. It is the thing that made me. It is the thing that is going to finish me. Bello had her instruments out, and her hands were not steady. Everything here reads as one organism, she whispered. One mind, asleep, spread through every trunk for 100 miles, and we just woke a small part of it up by being interesting. It came closer, without seeming to move, the way the worst things in dreams do, and up close, it was not a monster. That was the hardest part to carry home. Up close, you could see what it had been. It had a shape under the stone and the roots, 2 arms too long, a head bowed. It had been standing there so long that the tree had grown up through it and made it part of the world. And it was still, faintly, trying to speak. The glyphs under my arm lit, and through them I understood it the way you understand weather. Not words, pressure, grief, a warning worn down by an unthinkable amount of time. And underneath all of it, the thing that broke me a little. It had been a person once, one of the ones who built the doors, one of the ones who ran. It had not made it. That was its whole story, told in pressure and grief. It had run inward, world after world, sealing the doors behind it, and somewhere on this quiet green world, it had simply run out of running and stopped and let the world take it, and it had been listening ever since for what came behind. Bello was pulling at my arm, saying we had to go. The readings were wrong, everything here was one thing, and the one thing was waking up. But I could not stop listening, because the listener was finally, after all that time, being heard, and I have never in my life been able to walk away from that. And the forest was moving now, not fast, not all at once, but everywhere, the trunks leaning a degree closer the way a crowd leans toward a man about to fall. 100 miles of one patient mind, turning its whole attention, and at the center of that attention, me, the reader, the one it had a name for. I have spent my life wanting to be understood by something that spoke my dead languages back. I had never once considered the price of getting my wish. It showed me what is coming. I will not pretend I understood it. A darkness that is not dark. A tide with no water. It does not destroy a world. Reyes uses that word, and I let her because the true word is worse. It unwrites them. It reaches a world, and the world was simply never there, and never had been, and no one is left who could miss it. That is what the precursors ran from. That is the number set into our door, getting smaller every day. Not an army, an erasing. I have translated a great many terrible inscriptions in my life. Curses, plague records, the last words of drowned cities. I had always thought of them as history, as the past, safely over. Standing in that forest, I understood for the first time that I had only ever been reading the survivors. This was the thing that made the inscriptions necessary. This was the end every dead language I love had been trying and failing to warn the next one about. And then it did the thing I have not told Holt, and I am not sure I ever will. It reached out, slow as continents, and it touched the lines under my new skin. And they did not flare. They went quiet, calm, like a frightened animal being gentled. You are the wrong kind of new, it told me, in pressure and grief. You can carry the door inside you. They will use you to reach further. Do not let them reach the place where it sleeps. Seal the doors. Stop running. Stand. Reyes got us out. She always does. I carved the way home with a hand that finally shook, and we fell back into the cold and the steel and the red light, and I lay on the cavern floor and could not speak. Holt was there in an instant, asking what we found, what it was, how far. And before I could decide what to lie about, Bello looked up from the door, from the number set into it, and her face did the thing a face does when the arithmetic stops being abstract. In the hour we were gone, the number had dropped by a year.